What have we made of Shane Bieber so far as a Toronto Blue Jay as the team gets set for the biggest series of the year in the Bronx? Hey everyone, and welcome into another edition of Long Ball. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Blue Jays writer Rob Longley. And Rob will preview the Yankees series, arguably the biggest series of the year, coming up in just a moment. But got to start with Shane Bieber, who had a very interesting start on Wednesday night. John Schneider, I believe, called it the best start where a starter has given up 5 earned runs he's ever seen. And I think it's kind of, says a lot about Shane Bieber that he's bringing this ace mentality where maybe if he doesn't have his best stuff on any given night, he's still able to grind through it and give the team some much needed innings. But now we're 3 starts into the Shane Bieber tenure as a Blue Jay. What have you made of it so far?
Well, I think what I've made of it mostly, Rob, is that when we're having this discussion about a month from now, we'll be talking about Shane Bieber as the Game 1 starter for the Blue Jays in the postseason. I think it's almost a lock now the way it's gone. I mean, obviously things can happen between now and then, over his next 4 or 5 starts or whatever it's going to be. But really, each in their own way, his 3 starts so far have been extraordinarily good, particularly the first 2. And there's so much to like about what happened in his most recent one, because as you mentioned, Rob, that 5-run inning that he gave up in the second, that matched a career high for him. It's the most runs he's ever allowed in one inning in his career. And yet he was able to really bear down and lock in and shut the Reds down the rest of the way. Given the struggles of the bullpen of late, they really needed a lengthy outing out of Shane Bieber, and they got 6 innings from him. But he really showed what he can do when the pressure's on, like how he can sort of pick himself up with which every pitcher has to do, because you're always going to run into a little bit of a bump in the road. But moreover, in his 3 starts, I think we've seen the best version, or close to the best version, of Shane Bieber, and certainly headed towards the ceiling that the Blue Jays had hoped for when they acquired him at the trade deadline. They certainly expected him to be that version of Shane Bieber, and probably, if they were being honest, they were hopeful that he would be the type of player that could be the top of the rotation guy into the postseason. And thus far, anyway, all signs indicate that that's going to be what will happen.
Well, it was a long wait for Blue Jays fans to finally see Shane Bieber on the mound, but it has definitely been worth the wait so far in these first 3 starts. Now, unfortunately, he will not be on the mound for this weekend series against the New York Yankees. The Blue Jays have put themselves in a position here, Rob, where even if they get swept, they're still going to hold down first place in the American League East race. But this could really be that series that makes or breaks the race here. If the Blue Jays can maybe take 2 of 3 or possibly even a sweep, which is unlikely, it'll make things really challenging for the Yankees. But how do you think these 2 teams are heading into this series with the mentality of, this is really going to be possibly the deciding factor for this division?
You really hate to put too much emphasis on one series with still a month to play. But for me anyway, Rob, this is the real unofficial start of the stretch drive. So much on the line. Their last meeting with the Yankees, chance for a statement, obviously. Win 2 of 3, and you can't quite bury the Yankees at that point, but you can certainly reestablish that strong lead atop the division that sort of faltered a little bit over the past week. And I think it's the opportunity to learn even more about this Blue Jays team, a team that has been pretty uneven in its play over the past month. We've seen a lot of inconsistencies, particularly on the pitching side and especially on the bullpen side. And now you go into Yankee Stadium for a weekend series, a showdown between the top 2 teams in the American League East, and all that comes with a big series at Yankee Stadium when you get into September and October. Everything ratchets up, it seems. The intensity, the pressure, the atmosphere. I mean, I've been to many games at Yankee Stadium in September and October, and it's a unique venue in all of baseball. We've seen this Blue Jays team do well in tough environments all season. But now with so much on the line in terms of trying to lock up the division, and I think that's critical that they do that. This is the next biggest test, and without any hyperbole, as I said, in my mind, easily the biggest series of the season thus far.
Well, it's going to be an interesting wrinkle here, Rob, is maybe we wouldn't have said this at the beginning of the season, but it's the top 2 offenses in baseball squaring off in this series. We know how good these pitching staffs can be when they're at their best. But are you expecting a lot of runs in this series against some two high-octane offenses?
Well, the Blue Jays only scored 25 of their last two games, which isn't really their entirely their DNA. I would think they wouldn't want to go into the Bronx expecting to outslug the Yankees, because that is their calling card. They're one of the most explosive offenses in all of baseball, especially at home. But the fact that they can do it, and the fact that they're scoring runs at the rate that they have over the past few weeks, is very important come this time of year, because you and I have talked about this in the past. When it comes to the postseason, it seems anyway, teams that can hit home runs are gonna do a lot of damage and have successful runs. The fact that the Blue Jays have added that back into their game, especially with the work of George Springer and Dalton Varsho, means they can sort of go toe-to-toe against the Yankees. I still think that for the Blue Jays to have success over this 3-game series, they're going to have significantly better pitching than they've had over the past little while. But at least they know that when they get down in a game, they can come back, and at least they know that they can slug it a little bit now, which was sort of the big question mark coming into the season. Wasn't really a huge part of their offense for the majority of it, but certainly has been for the past month.
Well, no matter what happens this weekend, there's going to be plenty to talk about next week coming out of this series. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Rob Longley, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.